OK， 的全称就是
Hello, I hope you can hear me. I'm Andreas Schulz from Licht Kunst Licht, connected to you, hopefully. And I'm happy to see what's going on in the next hour.
So Andreas, the first question to you is like, we noticed that there's number 4 in our cover of the book. So we must have at least 4 books of Licht Kunst Licht. So they are wondering what is our goal or what is our philosophy behind these books, why we are doing so many different series, and if we are going to have more series in the future.
Okay, yeah, when we started that program, mostly 20 years ago with book number 1, we thought that we need to document our work because, first of all, we have very ambitious employees and we want to document what hard work they did to have these extraordinary nice projects. So it was meant to be a documentation for our work and give away to our employees as well. And then it turned out that it was a really valuable source of, let's say, projects for architects as well. And the first book we published was book number 1. We printed 500 pieces and it was immediately sold out. And then we printed 500 more and we printed 500 more. At the end, we ended at 2,000 books, which went on the European book market because there are hardly to find books which are showing projects in a good quality of pictures and explaining how they are done. And then we did book number 2, book number 3, and finally we did book number 4. And the books grow at every stage because more and more projects came. We became more successful. Right now, the most successful lighting design company in Europe and worldwide, very much recognized. So for that reason, the book has become very thick and we are so happy that we have now a Chinese version of it, which number 4 in Chinese.
姜老师要辛苦了，这么一大段。
等一下，我在记。Andreas, so as a lighting designer, as a professional and much experienced like big designer, you must have been visit China many times before the pandemic happened. So they want to know your opinion and your ideas about the lighting design market in China in general, and how you can, maybe they are wondering the 2 different perspective. Well, first is the design quality, and other one is the market, like the projects and the client and the sales and kind of stuff.
Okay, yeah, this is the question. My first visit in China is 20 years ago. I was invited for a conference with other lighting designers, or there were just a few lighting designers in these days 20 years ago. And my impression at these days is a different impression which I had than when I traveled for our first project. So 20 years ago, this market of lighting design was, from my point of view, very much underdeveloped, and the few projects which I could see and visit with ambitious lighting design were quality-wise in a bad condition. That was the situation I saw. We were at very high-ranking clients. We found out that the market developed very much to the positive, and that even our competitors in China have caught up. So lighting started on a very low level from my point of view, but it developed amazing stiff to a better quality. And you can see today a lot of very high illuminated buildings, which you can see at international, let's say, award celebrations. A lot of Chinese projects are there.
Okay, Mr. Xu, hey, thank you for your appreciation and also the encouragement for the Chinese lighting designer here. Andrea, so maybe you want to select some project which you want to share with the audience here to share some stories and your in-person thoughts for this project.
Yeah, I can show you some pictures of projects and give you a little bit background information with these pictures. I would like to share my screen. One big field of lighting design in Europe is illuminating heritage buildings because we are rich in heritage building, like you are in China. You see in the background building which was built in the 1300s. Nearly 800 years ago, and that made of big stone blocks, and it is under heritage protection, and we haven't been allowed to drill anything on the wall or to destroy the stones or to put luminaires in the ceiling or whatever. So everything what we did is adapted on the walls or freestanding. So it's not touching the structure of the building. So that monastery was converted into a 5-star hotel with a very nice restaurant and a spa. And it's all about wine. It's in the middle of Spain, and they celebrate the red wine very much. And it's one of the most valued Spanish wine brands. So people from far away in Spain travel to that monastery, which is now a vineyard and a hotel, and to consume the wine. So they stay over the weekend, stay in that hotel, and it's all about food and wine. And we try to celebrate that. So it's let's say, if you want to say, it's a little bit in the middle of nowhere, and we pointed it out with light. So you see it from far away. And if you are once in, it becomes more intimate. And all luminaires are custom made. We made them all of bronze material. They are handmade. And there are just 10 different luminaires for the whole complex. So we work with a very small number of luminaires, but they are all handmade and really valuable. As you can see, these pendant lights, even hand-blown or mouse-blown glass. So everything is custom made for that project. Yes, and as a lighting designer, you need to use lighting as a tool to emphasize architecture. And we asked the architect to place a reflecting pool in the courtyard, and we played with the mirroring effect of the reflecting pool, which is a very nice picture if you once inside of the swimming pool and you look outside into the courtyard. So it's all about creating pictures in a scenographic way. Yeah, this is, by the way, it's very clear. No? All the pictures are from our book Licht Kunst Licht 4. No? Okay. So this is a quite interesting project. It's called One Shenzhen Bay. It's in the city of Shenzhen. It's facing the city of Hong Kong. So it was quite important to have a very strong visual picture because the owner wanted to be seen from far away. And that skyscraper you see in front, it's 350 meters high, and all the front side and the back side is a huge media facade facing one time the city of Hong Kong, and on the other time facing the city of Shenzhen, sorry. It's called One Shenzhen Bay. And very interesting because we want to give that whole plot of One Shenzhen Bay an own identity. So you see these illuminated corners of the skyscrapers, which is a repeating thing. We have, I think, 7 or 8 skyscrapers which have all the same lighting, and then you see the tall tower which has the same elements repeated. So very valuable as in Shenzhen. As you might know, it's one of the most expensive and most nicest areas to live in Shenzhen.
Andrea, so Mr. Xu asked, because we know there are so many buildings and all of them are kind of very bright at nighttime. So when we designed one Shenzhen Bay, which approach did we have to estimate how bright it will be, and how is our approach to highlight this project and make them to be outstanding among the other towers, shining towers around?
A very interesting question. We did a lot of studies because the towers are very close to each other. So from window to window, you have just 50 meters and the next building is. And so you can look into the living room of your neighbor. And we have these corner lines. So the question was how bright they could be without disturbing the neighbors, and how bright they have to be to create an address. And we did a lot of studies. First of all, on a computer, then we made a mock-up, and secondly, everything is dimmable. And one time I went to the site and we adjusted the illuminance level or the brightness of the lines that it is comfortable for everybody.
Okay, 太棒了. Okay, go on.
Yeah. Even that we are very experienced engineers and lighting designers. The office has experience of more than 30 years, and we do a lot of things by our knowledge, but on buildings like that we have to do mock-ups, and you can see constructions details which we provide for the site and for the facade engineers. But we went one time to the site and placed our LED lines for the media facade to see the visibility all over the city of Shenzhen, because it was about advertising the project. This is a very important project for us. As you might know, lighting design is an established profession in the United States. There it was highly developed in the 50s, 60s. Then it came over to Europe. Right now, but it's all started mostly in. You don't hear me?
You
don't hear me?
Cut off before. Maybe you can repeat what you
talk
about.
Yeah. So lighting design is a profession which is around 50 years old. And it started in the United States, and it came to Europe, and right now it's already in China. But it started in the United States in museums, and the same for us. Our career started in museums. We are very well known all over the world because we are able to deal with daylight. Yeah, and this museum is in the city of Frankfurt, in the middle of Germany. The ones who are able to see it one-to-one. So this under museum is located. So it's a museum which is -5 meters over lower than the street level. It's an underground museum with skylights, and on top there is a green, so there's a park as well. As you can see, left side, you see the construction details we developed before concrete was flowing.
Mm-hmm.
You see already green surface of the park. This is the staircase taking you down on the -5 level where that big exhibition started. So the crazy experience is that you are entering the old part of the museum on street level, then you walk down in the basement, and then you are in this generous ambience of skylighted museum. You will see later on pictures. This is then the interior on the left side. It's from the other side, looking at the staircase, taking you down, and then you turn and you see on the right picture, you see the amazing built cubicle exhibition blocks where, let's say, sensitive material can be shown because we can block out the skylight there. And all these skylights are digital and intelligent. So we have over 100 skylights, and every skylight can be controlled separately on a intelligent building management system. And we have different curtains inside. So you can block out the light. You can allow to enter 80%, 60%, and 40%. It's quite amazing how you can adjust the level of natural light with these skylights.
She said he went to visit this museum many years ago, but at that time he didn't understand so many design philosophy and how the details would be at that time. But this year he will come to Light Building in October to Frankfurt again, and he will bring the online audience of our Chinese friends into this museum. So he asked if Andreas will also come to Light Building. Will you happy to guide him to this museum and to show him how we design in person here?
I will be at Light and Building and I will do it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, this is lighting is a tool to create an address, like I said, with one Shenzhen Bay. No? And right now, the Städelmuseum becomes, even that the collection is amazing in general, but it becomes worldwide known for that picture because it's such a interesting picture with the glowing skylights at night. And they advertise the museum with this kind of illumination. So it becomes a part of their whole PR and the, let's say, the value of having a good lighting design and, let's say, spending some effort and even money into it to make it extraordinary pays very much for the client at the end, because the turn back is much more worse than anything else, creating such pictures.
So Andreas, Mr. Xu said for these pictures, it's very nice because you can see the lighting coming from the underground side and it won't be too much bright. And also you can see the light from the interior of the architect as well as the skylight here. So it must be taken from some typical time of the day, for example, the sunrise or the sunset time, maybe only 20 minutes or even less more time to take this kind of nice photos here. So he asked, do you remember the story or the timing when it took this picture?
I don't remember exactly, but this is always a stress we have. You know? We use the very best architect photographers in Germany for our picture, and we are keen on having what we call the blue hour. No? This is just a time slot of half an hour where you can do these pictures. No? And in this half an hour, you want to do the most of get out the most out of it. But I know that was during summertime here, so it might be something around 8 o'clock in the evening because the sun goes down at around 9 o'clock in June. No? So in Germany.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay. So Andreas, I explained that this is the last images from our side, but we are happy to answer any questions and communicate with Chinese friends. And there's one question from online friend. They are curious about lighting fixtures for the Abadia project, the first project we introduced. So maybe Nina, can you please turn to the pages for the lighting fixtures? So Andreas, they are more curious about the images on the right side hand because this is space keep the wine here, and we all know that the wine is very sensitive to lighting. So when we design this place, how we balance the lighting and the sensitive of the wine, and also to keep the room look nice.
Okay, yeah, this is a very nice question. As you might not know, but let's say a wine cave where wine is stored is normally illuminated by candles. So somebody who get a customer down or the owner of a winery looking for the wine, he used to have a candle. No? So it's normally mostly dark. And it does have a certain temperature, so it's always deep in the underground. It's the same here. For the reason that they are waiting for clients, we try to transfer that idea of a candle, and we developed that luminaire, which has a single bulb. And the photo misleads you a little bit because it's really dark. We don't have more than 50 lux. So it's not so easy to make a photo in an environment with very low level. No? So, but in general, it's very low level, and it doesn't influence the quality of the wine because just higher illuminance levels go through these dark brown bottles. No? That's the reason why the bottles are brown, no? To keep them, let's say, away from high illumination levels.
对，其实我跟Angela 来说一下吧，然后其实是差不多，我看看他有什么其他的想法。Angela, so we have also questions from the TikTok here. I think we can call her the Principal Cao from eLicht. He asked a question that we have this very hot concept of the human-centric lighting and the circadian-centric lighting. And 还有什么 and the lighting and health, so maybe they're kind of similar, and we don't know the difference, or these three name confusing to them. So they want to know your thought about these concepts.
Okay, sorry, we had a small cut in between. Can you shortly repeat?
Yeah, and just so they asked, what do you think is the difference between the human-centric lighting and the circadian rhythm lighting and the healthy lighting here? Because these three concepts are very hot, and people talk a lot about this, but maybe they are not that so much different, and they want to know your thoughts.
No, the difference is more related to, let's say, the wording. Human-centric lighting is, in general, lighting which reflects the cardiac rhythm of the, let's say, the viewer. And so the light is, let's say, tuned to color temperature, which are related to daylight. This is, in general, the topic. So this is called either human-centric lighting, or let's say health lighting, or the healthy lighting, or whatever. There are a lot of terms in the word. It is the meaning of it is that the light adjusts to the circadian rhythm of the viewer. That is the main meaning.
So Andres, Mr. Xu said in Chinese market, it's very normal that the lighting for the interior part and lighting for the exterior part will be completely two different kind of scope, and maybe they will hire different people to do these two parts. And he wonders how is the situation in Germany, in Europe, and how you think of this situation.
I think this is a very bad habit in China. I think the lighting design, interior and exterior, must be done by one person because it needs to be connected. No? It doesn't make sense to have an interior light which doesn't reflect the exterior and vice versa. No? So we don't take projects over where the exterior lighting is done by another person, and we don't take interior over when or exterior when the interior is done by another person. So we see a project as a complete project. By the way, there are other projects about illuminating a park where there is no interior, then it's very clear. No? But if it is, for example, a building with a park or with exterior, then we want to do everything out of one hand. No? So otherwise it doesn't make sense.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so there's another question, because people always like to listen to stories. So when we design a project in the very beginning, do we only think about lighting for how it will look nice and how the functional lighting would be, or if we will first create a story in the very beginning?
Depends a little bit on the project. For example, if we do, let's say, a project in hospitality, like a hotel or even a private residence, then we are very much interested in how the client is reacting on light. There are other projects like commercial buildings, like, for example, an office building. We don't have a client. We don't talk to somebody. We do it from our knowledge. So it doesn't need in the beginning a story, but we want to talk to the people if they are, let's say, doing it for their own use, which is in hospitality or in private residences the case, or if it is commercial, it's a different story.
Andrea, so there's a more personal question to you. So because they all know you have stayed in this industry for so many years, and they are interested to about in which point or reason why you step into this industry, and what the reason why you keep in industry for a long time. What's your stories or your thought about it?
That's a nice question. First of all, I'm a studied engineer. So I a trained electrician, a studied engineer, and as I'm a high voltage specialist. This has nothing to do with light. So, and I always have had a creative part in me. I like nice things. And to be an engineer, you don't have any space to develop this kind of passion. So I saw in lighting something I can combine on a very good way. So with the knowledge of being an electric engineer and the passion for lighting, it's a very, very fruitful combination. So I started my career after finishing and became an engineer for electric energy in a lighting design company. And after 3 years, I found my own company because I already started to become successful. Okay, we have some more pictures.
I think people are still interested about your story. So after you founded the Licht Kunst Licht, while you're still in this career and last for almost the whole life here.
Okay, yeah. I hope the life goes on. So, right now the company is more than 30 years old, and from the first year on to today, we are super successful. And right now we are one of the leading lighting design companies in the world, one of the biggest in the world, and we are working for the most well-known architects in the world. So we have a lot of superlatives, and it's quite nice if you are one time getting into success and if you get a good feedback that motivates you all the time. No? And we are able to create with these amazing architects always new pictures. So it's not a repeat of what we have done. It's always something new, and that emphasize our whole spirit. No? We have a lot of very ambitious people working for us, and there is no end because we are dedicated all the time to new interesting projects. In China, a lot of amazing projects. We've been asked to become a part of the lighting of the projects that do the lighting design. We are doing in other parts of the world a lot of things. We are successful in America. We do in a lot of projects in other parts of Asia. So it's a quite interesting life, and that keeps us rolling. It's very interesting, and it goes on like this.
So there's a question maybe from the lighting fixture manufacturer, and the question is, in which way or how you defined a lighting product as a good product, and what's your suggestion if they want to design a lighting product? In which way do you think they need to think of and to pay attention to?
Okay, yeah. Quality is the main topic. So if people today want to use luminaires and lighting, they are already adapted on LED lighting, and they are already know that the lifespan of a LED is a very long lifespan, more than 50,000 hours. But these 50,000 hours or even more must be guaranteed. So quality is a very big topic. Let's say the quality in general, but the quality of light as well. No? So what are used? Flicker is a very big topic. We just use absolutely flicker-free luminaires. We want to have a stable color temperature all over the light span. We want to have perfect binning. So in between of all the different lights, we want to have the same binning, and these quality levels are quite high. This is why if we do our specifications, we put a lot of quality topics into our specifications. We are very much known as Germans to go on a high quality level. So this is all these, let's say, parameters are quite important for us.
So Andres, there's another question. They asked if there's some research or study about the benefit and the profit the lighting design could be when people spend some money and spend some effort on a project for lighting, and how the outcome will be when it comes to the management or the promoting side. Is there any typical study or research about this part in Europe?
There is. It's a quite interesting topic. For example, we illuminate the Chancellery in Germany 25 years ago, where today Mr. Scholz, our president, has his office. We illuminate that 25 years ago, and we are now renovating it and putting it into LED. The energy save in between of what we did 25 years ago and today, it's 65% energy save. And maintenance cost, it's just by 10% because these new luminaires doesn't need any maintenance. 50,000 hours without any maintenance. Before it was every 10,000 hours maintenance. So we save 5 cycles of maintenance, and labor is very expensive in Europe. So this is a huge benefit on renovating projects.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and do you have other comments or stories to talk about something for a tourist project?
Yeah.
Something like a master plan, yeah, or something more like a light scene?
Yeah, this is quite interesting. We are doing some modern office buildings right now. And with a proper lighting design and, let's say, electronics to run the system with daylight sensors and all that, you can save a lot of energy. And on the second hand, you can save a lot of luminaires. So there are certain parts where you don't need luminaires or not as much as luminaires as before, because you do the design adapted to the usage. So for a corridor, you need different lighting levels than for an office space. But today, office spaces are open spaces. No? So if you adjust the lighting design and not put everywhere a luminaire, you can save a lot of investment cost and even energy. And that is a huge benefit. A proper lighting design done with some bright thoughts can save, I think, 30% of the budget, and it can save at least 30% of energy.
Okay, so this question is for this project showing in this screen, because we mentioned that the interior lighting and the external lighting should be done by one person, and it should be thinking in a whole way, in a holistic way. So for this project, they noticed that the lighting is coming from inside and it looks very nice at night. They're wondering what if the people, they take off from the work, and how we think and how we control the lighting inside to make it still as a holistic way when looking from outside.
Yeah, this is an interesting project because it's a headquarter of ThyssenKrupp in Germany, the big elevator company. And they are producing even steel panels. And when that building was, let's say, decided to use that kind of architecture, then the chairman of the company said to me, he wanted the building to be illuminated from the outside. And I was fighting with him and said, no, we illuminate the inside and then the inside will be seen at the outside. So we don't need to use floodlights to illuminate the facade. We do a proper interior lighting, which will spill out and show the material on a very sophisticated way. That is the story behind it.
I think the question is that how we can control or how we do a master plan if we know that the people inside, when they use it building, they will turn off the lighting or turn on lighting by themselves, and how we participate or how we envision this in the design stage.
No, there is a control system which turns on the luminaires which are close to the facade on 10% dim level at nighttime. So there are certain luminaires which are turned on by the building control system automatically at nighttime. So the interior lighting became a part of the exterior light by a control system.
So there's a friend online, they found out that we have the fixed books already come out.
No, it's number 5.
Yeah, number 5.
It's number 5. It was let's say in between done, and it's just, let's say, it's not really published, but number 5 is the next book, which will be available one time in China as well.
There's a designer who noticed that the lighting and the steel panel is very integrated together in a very good way, and they wonder if this is a design from the architect, or is there something we proposed from lighting perspective, and how they can be combined together and to showing a whole 4 images here.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because this is, you see in the picture the headquarter building. There is another building which is a little bit lower, and it's let's say rectangular, and that whole building is made out of steel panels with punched steel panels. And the density of the punching was developed by us because at one time it's sun screening, at the other side transporting interior light to the outside. The building looks very transparent. I don't know if you can show up that picture. I've seen it before. It's quite interesting. So it was, let's say, a very close together working with the architects, developing, let's say, the right color for the steel panels and the right density if they are punched and they are treated for sun screening. So it's a collaboration between the architects, the facade engineers, and us. Like always, no? We are used to collaborate with very different professions in big buildings.
Yeah, and I think also for Wanshenbei, we also have a lot of coordination with the architect and a facade consultant here.
Yes, of course we do.
So they wondering, as a lighting designer, do you think the beam technology and the engineer stuff will be a direction or a necessary approach in the future?
Yes, of course. So let's say we changed the whole structure of our offices. We have right now a person who is the BIM management leader. So we have somebody who was managing our, let's say, output, because the output of an engineer is still drawings, no? But we are communicating worldwide with completely different architects and with different engineers. And we want to have the same quality on output. So we have a BIM manager, we have our drawing capacity changed crazy. Before it was just AutoCAD. Today everything is Revit and BIM. Huh? We are in a different time. Right now everything is 3D. Before it was just 2D.
Okay, so they also curious about these images. So for this part, because it looks like art installation here, so they're wondering if this idea is proposed from us or from the architect in the very beginning. So
that idea,
structure.
yeah. It's called the Room of Silence. It's an area where, let's say, people can sit together and to talk very intimate. No? If you want to talk with a colleague about a problem, if you want to talk about your boss, about money or whatever, you choose that area because it's all about, let's say, noise protection. The interior of that big cube is, let's say, a noise reduction material. It's a kind of felt. And we want to make it a place for contemplation. So we decided to have, let's say, very low blue light, which offers you a little bit the, let's say, the idea of having a sky in front of you. It doesn't have the skylight, no? So it's all interior. So yes, we try to work with that thing, but the main idea is from the architects.
Because Andres, you mentioned that you like the design, you like the beautiful things. So they wondering if you have any suggestions for the young lighting designers, how they can improve their views about the beautiful things and how they can more have the judgment to some aesthetic stuff.
Very interesting question. I have to look back to my career, how I got access to lighting and the beautiful things. It was mostly through art. I went into a lot of museums because I was interested in art, and the art gave me a good access to lighting because mostly artists dealing with the topic of light. And you can see that in paintings and sculptures and everything. And in museums, you can learn a lot regarding aesthetics of light. So I would really recommend to look at art. And secondly, I would recommend to become interested in architecture, because architecture is a part of artwork. Architects are artists as well. And there are so ambitious and good architects, and it's the access to architecture is quite open. In every Chinese big city, you find extraordinary nice architecture. Go and look and study that architecture and try to understand what the architects as an artist want to express. There is a lot of things you can learn about, and that I think educates you a lot.
好的，所以各位除了要去看建筑，还要看好的作品啊，像这种无数好的作品就是值得你多看看的。注意，看不是就这样看，英文里面看有 see、watch、look、read， 你一定要 read，must read， not just look，OK？ 所以一定要多看啊，好作品就在下面1号链接，下单买书。好，还有最后5分钟。
Okay, so Mr. Xu, he just replied that it's a very good point, and besides to understand and to know see more the architect, they also need to see the very good lighting project. So, and also for our book, it's not only to look at the pictures, but also to really think of the content and to read carefully about how the stories and design background inside. Okay, so there's only 5 minutes left. Mr. Xu is looking for one last question here. Andres, do you know about the metaverse? It's a very hot concept here.
This is a topic right now. We are, as you might know, we are working on a concept lighting-wise where the client is asking for something really new and really different. And Ishan is part of the project team. We are running it from Germany, and we are struggling to, let's say, to develop something which haven't been seen before. This is kind of our meta word, I tell you. So it's a topic in between of us as well right now for a Chinese project.
好的，好的，特别期待这个项目。
Okay, so the time is almost finished. In the very end of this live show, they want Andres to just say something to the Chinese friends and audience here, maybe some suggestions or what you think. Yeah, at the point.
First of all, thank you for giving me the time to talk to you. Secondly, I'm looking forward really to go to China and to see you. And I'm looking forward to see, let's say, a big part of the lighting community on light and building in this year in Frankfurt. So I think we will have a lot of. And as I'm back in China, and if I can do things, I'm already invited by eLight for a conference one time soon. You see me talking to you face to face, hopefully. Thank you very much for giving me the time to talk to you.
Okay.
Sure, thank you.
好，谢谢大家，拜拜。Andrea, thank you for your time, and let's say goodbye to our Chinese friend here.
Goodbye
Bye-bye.
to everybody. Have a good time. Stay healthy.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.